It's your man, Kil.
No, I'm Dr. Roz.
I'm just still stuck on the things that this chick hasn't heard, seen. I don't even know.
I don't know.
You just don't know. That's it. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. You just don't know. You just don't
I truly was, like, for real, like, growing up, if you thought of a band geek.
A band geek?
Yeah, I was in a band and in chorus.
I'm sorry.
Like,
Stop.
I did the whole Glee thing.
Stop. I've known you for 6 years. 7 years. I've known you for almost 10 years.
You never knew I was in a band.
What did you play?
Oh, man. I played the clarinet, the bass clarinet, and I was a color guard captain.
That ain't no band, dude.
What?
That ain't no band. A band is the drums, guitar, bass, or the keyboard.
Oh, you cannot discount woodwinds.
You sound like my mother.
I'm so serious.
When's the last time you went to a show?
Real.
When is the last time you went to a show and you saw somebody on the clarinet? No. When's the last time?
No. Have you heard the bellowing of a bass clarinet, though?
The bellowing?
Yes, it is such a rich tone. Yes,
You go to a lot of shows, right? You ever seen a clarinet at a Just Stop show? Get the hell out of here! You ain't seen that. Now you just.
You're not gonna be on Woodwinds. Woodwinds stand up.
This don't make no sense.
You're not gonna be on the Woodwinds.
Next question. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for about 6 months and everything is going great. But the one problem I have is that I'm a very giving person. I like to send cards, buy him little gifts, his favorite DVDs, new lenses for his cameras, etc. Surprise him with tickets to Sixers and Eagles games. But during the time we've been together, he hasn't brought me anything. Part of me feels like I'm being used, but the other part of me doesn't think so because he has a very good job and makes a lot of good money, so he doesn't need to quote-unquote use me. Which part of me do you guys think is right? Let me start by saying, just because a dude got a lot of money don't mean he can't use you. He's using you, so he ain't got to spend his money. So the whole idea of, and I guess that's just society, like a dude who's going to use you is the broke dude, the dude with no job. No, the dude who makes 6 figures can use you too, because he's able to take that money that would have went to the Sixers and the Eagles game and go with his homeboys over to the DR and do what they got to do. So just wanted to put that out there to you for that.
And DR, he means Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I think all of our viewers know who the DR is.
I don't know, some people don't. Some people don't. You never know.
But then I also think, again, this kind of comes back to maybe you giving too much too soon. Like, it's only been 6 months. Yeah. But I also understand the premise of, like, what she's saying, that she's a giving person. And when you're a giving person,
you just give.
It's kind of hard to be like, okay, I can't give for a year until... Camera lenses, I know them joints is expensive. Yeah. So, I mean, DVDs, yeah, sure. You in Best Buy, you saw you wanted Django Unchained and you copped it for them. That's, you know, whatever. But you Eagles games, Sixers games, you buying out the bar. And I think the thing is that's a conversation that you may want to have with him. But then also you got to understand, I tell a lot of folks this all the time, is that don't let someone stop you from being who you are. Yeah. Because he may not be giving like that, like, because you're a gift giver, you know, so maybe he's not a gift giver, but it doesn't mean that he's using you or he's not a good person. He just doesn't rock like that. So, like, let's even leave it at just she sends cards. Then I'm always sending him a card. I'm always sending him a card, and he never sends me a card back. I mean, it's a $2, $3 card. Well, maybe 4 or 5 cards is expensive now. But, you know, maybe he's just not that type of person, you know, not that he's a bad person, not that he's using you, not that he's selfish, you know, because then we'll label you that. We'll label you, oh, I brought all this stuff for you and you haven't brought anything for me, so now you're selfish. And it's like, nah, I'm just not that dude, you know. I've never been a gift giver, you know. I give gifts on birthdays and, you know, holiday, you know, birthdays and Christmas. So that may be something that y'all want to talk about or that you want to share with him, that and just let him know. Not coming from the standpoint of I've done all this for you, now it's time for you to do for me. But just explain to him like, yo, you know, I like gifts too. Maybe you didn't know that, you know. So then it's not like I've done this for you, so, you know, some tit for tat. It's more so like, look, let me tell you how I like to be loved, you know, or how I, you know, what my love language is. You know, and if it is gifts, then it's kind of like, okay, well, I want gifts too. You know, I would want to be surprised with roses, and I would want to be surprised with this. And to be honest, a lot of dudes just don't have that romantic spirit in us to just understand. I remember the first time I brought T flowers, I was in Giant. It looked like I was buying a car. I'm like, what? Rose, that one? I missed. What would you like? I had no idea because I just never brought flowers before.
I'm mad you bought them out of Giant.
What's wrong with Giant?
Don't you ever tell T you got her some
Roses? Man, come
from...
on. That's that Rome, Georgia crap.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yo,
like,
if
really?
I brought you a dozen roses, who cares? Are they not? You act like Giant roses look dead.
They're not. They don't. But
exactly.
No,
they don't exactly nothing. You act like
you're
I'll
right.
go outside.
It was the first time you bought flowers.
I still buy flowers from Giant. What is wrong with Giant? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Frank gets the flowers from FTD. my bad. My bad.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No. My bad. This is just like the other video. You had to give your rich Rome, Georgia answer, and I gave my budget Philadelphia answer. You know, it's FTD. Frank, don't. Even though you could get like 8 dozen at BJ's for $1, don't do that. Go spend $100 at FTD for like $5.
But you could get it for Pro Flowers, and they're not really expensive. I just like the whole vase and all that kind of thing that it got. I like the Philly stuff. I just do. I'm sorry. I like the vase and see what. Never mind.
But that's an example that she would have had to explain to whoever you're dating that you like the frilly stuff. Because bet money, if I was buying you flowers from Safeway and you was looking straight, we got a problem now because I'm trying to show you my love, but my love ain't frilly enough for you.
That's a good point.
That's why she has to sit down and talk with her man to explain to him this is how I like to be loved.
All right, so I have 2 parts to this.
Cool.
The first thing is that I see myself so much in her because I was a giver.
Okay.
And I would go out when Frank and I first started dating. I would go out and I would like, ooh, I think he'd be cute in this. Like I buy him a shirt, I buy him that, just little things. And then one day he was just like, oh my gosh, you don't have to buy me. I already love you. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, Frank is a good man.
No,
I would have been like, keep on shopping, boo.
Here's the 2 part though. He felt guilty because he wasn't buying me stuff quickly enough.
You got a
and
good
so
man.
And so it
can
be
at all.
But it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming if somebody is always getting you something and
was you getting what he wanted? I don't think it's ever overwhelming for a man to get what he wants. Now, if you was buying him some old off-brand shirts and
I observe for a living.
Okay.
So I was very observant about what he likes.
I'm just saying you'd be hard. I mean, but I know that people, it's just my shallowness. Keep talking.
What?
Because I'm just like, yo, if somebody's buying you stuff and you really like it, like if a dude is buying you a Coach bag every week, you're going to feel like, yo, this is too much? Or you're going to feel like, yo, I just hit the jackpot?
You know what? There's a...
I'm just a I'm sorry.
But see, he's a giver too.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. But he wasn't in a place yet. And again, this is when we first started dating.
Right.
Yet we liked each other. He just wasn't in a place yet. Because here is how I see whether a guy deems you as somebody they want to spend their time with or... want to get to know, they will spend their hard-earned money on you.
Okay.
You're worth the financial benefit, basically.
Okay.
So, he's a giver.
Okay.
He's definitely a giver. He definitely gives amazing gifts. But sometimes I don't, like, he got me an iPad. I was like, oh, okay.
Did you want an iPad?
No.
But see, that's what I said.
That's what I said.
You only probably feel that way if you're getting something you really don't
I agree
want.
with that. But I use the iPad now.
Right, but I'm saying if you wanted one, if you was like, yo, I want an iPad, and he got you an iPad, and then when the new one came out, he got you another one, and the mini came out, you'd be good. Or if you was a tech person and you wanted the new Galaxy 4 phone, you would be good with that. I think people feel some kind of way when it's like, you're buying me stuff, but like those are some sneakers I would never wear those.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is, I just think that when he got to a place for him to where he decided that was worth the financial benefit, and I'm not meaning like dinner,
right?
Because every date we went on, he would pay or whatever. I'm not meaning that, But when he wanted to get me,
but buying you like the amulets, the Wonder Woman, bullet blockers,
right? You know, when he wanted to get me something that he deemed was appropriate, you know, it was, you know, it took some time. It was, you know, it was Christmas.
Okay.
You know, and that's when he, you know, it took some time. But he has always said, and this was an issue that we had while we were dating. Roz, you want to date yourself. Because what I would do, I would expect him to do. And that's unfair. Just because you're doing it, you can't expect that somebody else is going to behave like you. Right. And I think oftentimes we get in situations where we expect, if we give, you better give just as much, and you better do this, and you better do that. What I just want to tell her is, don't ever let anyone change you. But if you want to give him something, pick up, you know, his favorite piece of candy. Pick up,
we going from camera lenses.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely, because there's no way that she should be putting so much money into this man, but not knowing if he really wants to be with her.
Hold tight for a second. But I think you do that after you have the conversation. And the reason why I say that is because if you buying me courtside tickets and camera lenses, and now I get a Hershey Kiss, I'm gonna be like, yo, what
you know, but and here's the problem: when you start out doing things, you got to keep that stuff up. And if she's having,
and what I'm saying is, there's not a problem with that, but have that discussion the same way, like I would say, have with your kids. You just can't stop. If you take your kids out every week to eat out, and then you lose your job, have that discussion with the kids to explain to them there's nothing wrong that you did, because as people, we just think, oh, I'm not getting what I used to, so am I not hitting it as good? Is she not loving me as good? And all those things. So,
but for her, there is something that he hasn't done.
Right, but that's why I said they got to have the conversation.
Yeah, definitely have the conversation.
Have the conversation.
But she needs to fall back, financially fall back, boo, and see if he, you know, when a man deems you worthy, they'll spend their money on you. That's
deems you worthy. That's like a book title.
Hey, let me give him. That's how I'm trademarked that.
All right.
You know I do.
Keep it locked, y'all. Prayerfully, we answered your question. This is your man, Kil.
Dr. Roz.
Keep it locked.